Right, hello, everybody. Welcome to round three of FRL's Super Sprint Sunday. We are here in the darkness at Paul Ricard. I'm Greg, your host for the evening. Alongside me, my co-host is Mr. Jack Prentice. Welcome in, buddy.
Good evening, pleasure to be here as always. And a couple of tests the admins have lined up for the drivers today, because you've got the circuit itself, first of all, which is a track of two halves, really, with a couple of long straights joined by two really technical sections at the end of the first sector, for example, where I'm looking at one of these, well, I think it's Vermeulen, as always, to see for tips on how it's done. And then you've got the mile-long Mistral straight before then a really quick right-hander, and it gets technical again, where you've got two right-handed corners before you go back on yourself. Plenty of off-camber corners as well, so you need to get your turn in absolutely spot on. You need to make sure that you've got bite at the front end. That, and we're in the dark. So in European times, it means that the track's going to be really cold, so you might have to play around with your brake dust, but tyre warm-up is going to be really difficult, especially with the one-lap qualifying session that we have in this championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic wide open track, has so many layouts, but the one chosen for the GT3 circuit is a really open one. It gets rid of the chicane in the middle of the Mistral straight, the F1 elects to use. And with the lower downforce of these cars, there are some corners that are dramatically lower speed, like the one Vermeulen's just gone round, and enters off camber and comes on camber as you go through the exit. But I believe before we get into the technicalities of trying to achieve speed around here in qualifying, I believe Jack, you've got the standings for the last round.
I do indeed. So not a lot's changed on SimGrid because of the way that the SimGrid scoring system works, in terms of you've got a drop score. So it's very much as it was previously, with a couple of movers and shakers. So you've got Jürgen Verif, who has been a bit of a standout in the AM class so far. He leads courtesy of his 1-3 in Austria. He's on 28 points in the Audi car number 8. He's ahead of Trevor Mendes in the McLaren car number 76, with Dreadlock Steve in third, following a decent run last time out. Darren Townsend is fourth in the McLaren car number 9, very pink machine, so watch out for him a little bit later on, with Jamie Thacker in fifth. Expect him to do better because he looked strong last time out in the Ferrari car number 7, with Miguel Silva in sixth in the McLaren car number 31. Michael Coppens is seventh in the Ferrari car number 36, with Vian Kruger, new to the championship, in car 44, also in a Ferrari, in 8th place. They're ahead of Gerrit Smits, who won the feature race last time out, so I expect him to start climbing the table as this progresses. He was in the Mercedes car number 35, with David Fass in 10th for the in car number 187 in the McLaren, a winner actually in the sprint race last time out, so should expect him to start climbing as well. Danny Felix is 11th, ahead of Nicky Vates, Gary Mark Davies and Paolo Flores. We're now going to go to the silver standings as the practice session comes to an end, with Renard Serfontaine leading courtesy of his 1-3 last time out at Zandvoort. Expect to see him begin to extend that lead as the season goes on. Marcolino is joint with him, but is behind courtesy of the fact that he hasn't won a race. He's got 2 seconds from Austria, with Steve Desire a point back in third. Lee Colpitts is fourth, also on 28 points, 1 behind the leader Serfontaine, 2 ahead of Michal Chubakov's in fifth, with Luke Richington sixth in the Ferrari, pink and purple Ferrari. Watch out for him a little bit later on when he gets started. Serafino Gabino, another admin, is in seventh, ahead of Alexander Kalugin, the AM champion last time out, with Michel van der Vol in ninth, ahead of Chris Gebman in 10th, 9th and 7th last time out, so he will start to climb as the season goes on. Trudeau Marshall is in 11th, ahead of Matthew Dunn and Alexei Yablonsky, who are yet to trouble the scorers. One more for the pros just before we get some quick laps coming in, as I can see that Sheriff Mullen's gone out straight away to try and get his time on the board. Look how cold it is there as well. Sheriff Mullen is the leader after first and second last time out. He's on 31 points, 5 points clear of Morgan Grace, with Wouter Heimans in third on 24 points, 2 points behind Morgan Grace. Václav Pospíšil in the Porsche car number 34 is in fourth on 22 points, level with Marcelin Bush-Tully, who has fantasy to deceive in this championship, but has been brilliant on Thursday night, so I expect to see him do a little bit better. He's in car number 2 in a Porsche, ahead of Andrew Eden in the Lexus on 22 points, and level with Marcelin Bush-Tully. Joe Wazza is in 7th in his absence today, so he may start to fall down the championship standings, with Jake Handley in 9th in the Ford Mustang. Had a bit of bad luck as Jake, so I expect him to do well, especially given his performance in Austria, where he finished 3rd in the feature race. Josh Clayton is in 10th and will be expected to do rather better, having not raced last time out, so I expect to see him climb up. He's ahead of Johnny Sharp and Paul Vidler. Paul Vidler looked quick here on Thursday night in the World Tour, with Fabio Travaglioni, who we wish well. He's had to have some surgery, so we wish him all the very best and hope to see him back in the championship as soon as he's fit and able to. But make sure that you don't rush it, Fabio. We're all thinking of you here. And Scott Dunn are all yet to score points. So I think we're just about to start with some of the qualifying laps.
Well, absolutely. So Brush Tully is the first to go out and first over the line. And he's got Vermeulen chasing down across the lap. But these are not too distant in pace, so we shouldn't expect Vermeulen to catch him on this hot lap. But we're going to follow Brush Tully around this one. Flies into turn 1. You want to make sure you settle that Porsche. Very heavy on the rear. Means the front might wash a little bit, but he's got it well under control there. Now this little short straight, he heads down towards turn 3. We're going to carry a lot of speed through turn 3. That curve you can see there is not classified as a turn, but he flies into here. Brake semi-hard in for turn 4, and then try and get the car back across the left before cutting this turn 5 as heavily as you can. And then try and carry moderate speed around the long turn 6. Try and get the car back round to the entrance of turn 7. Use as much track as you dare on the outside, carry as much speed, score as little speed as you can. As now you head down the Mistral straight. You can take a break, have a cuppa, shift up all the gears, and then try and spot your braking point down from around about 180 miles an hour. I personally do a double shift here because my Aston Martin is quite unstable in the higher gears turning, but I think the Porsche should be quite stable. Should be a single shift down. See if we can hear him. Sounded like a double shift, didn't it, Jack?
Yeah, it did. I mean, you try to keep the back end nice and settled, which is okay in the Porsche. The one challenge with the Porsche is because it is a rear-engine car, fuel goes in the front, and so you're susceptible to balance changes throughout the stint, which won't matter so much in qualifying. You can have that car as pointy as you like, but it will be a consideration in the race. And for his just missing the apex, they go for a slightly later apex. Some drivers like to hug the apex through that penultimate left-hander. But some, like Brush Tully, going for a later apex here. Can't go too wide through the final left hand before you get to the right hand, because otherwise you're tight. Your turn is too tight. As he comes across the line, where's it's going to go? He's going to keep it to the left hand side for the path of least resistance. And where is this for Michael Brush Tully? It's a 1:54.4, so good lap. It's roughly where he was on Thursday, if memory serves me, and that is good consistency. But there's Jared Vermeulen. He's second faster, isn't he?
Pretty much what he did in the practice. So we're going to try and pick up some additional drivers now. We've got car number 81 comes over the line. Who might that be? That is Mr. Wheats, and he's obviously going to go P3 in about 1.2 seconds down. So that's actually a very, very good representative time for him from the AM tier in the Bentley, which we do expect to be absolutely munching cars down the straight. And then we've got Silver come across the line. He's quite a bit off that, about 4 seconds down from Vermeulen, and crucially about 2.5 seconds down from Wheats there. Other cars coming across the line. We've got car number 36 maybe. I think that's Coppens. But I think he's just starting his lap.
7 behind him, which is Fars, Belgium. Where's he going to go? Another one to just be starting out, I think. No, he's gone 4th. So, yeah, only half a second off of it. So he can be pleased with that time as well. So, yeah, quite a broad spectrum of times in the AM Championship anyway. I think Vidler's just on, who you're just on now. I think he's just on an outlap because I saw him not very long ago pulling over to the side when Brush Tully and co. crossed the line. So who's next? It's car 71 and it's Van der Waal just coming through the final corner in that black, rather kitted out Ferrari. Now he's going for the path of least resistance. This is going to tell me it's going to be his main lap, and where does this go? He'll be the fastest in silver, first in silver. And he's fit, so he's in amongst a couple of AMs there. But I don't think that's as bad a time as it looks, because he's behind some of the AM drivers who have been towards the sharp end.
So who else is coming across the line? I see Brush Tully is still rolling around. I think he's going to come to the pit box. Car 77. Is that a spin? That's Mr. Overtaker. Is parked on the outside of. Trying to pick him out.
Turn number 1, is he?
No, turn.
No, final corner, so I don't know whether or not these on a... I don't know whether or not...
Very, very strange place to park, and he's bailed out.
He was on a lap then, he's just binned it then. So what's happened there is that he's probably got a little bit too much front end on in that case, and the back end's not been able to cope with it. Although he's going out again, so maybe it was an outlap. And if it is, well, the admins will verify that anyway. If it is, then he's rather fortunate. Although I don't really understand why he felt the need to stop.
Potentially, if he messed up his tyres maybe too hard, maybe picked up some damage, maybe not worth actually setting the time at all. So stopping just before starting the lap might save him from having his time invalidated from going again. So we just picked up Vidler, who is now on a lap in his bright green Ferrari. Not something you often consider Ferrari in.
Yeah, through the first sector there, it's really technical, and this is, like I mentioned, with the track of two halves. You want to make sure that you're carrying as much speed as possible, but not only that, that you've got the straightest line through, it's turn number 7, isn't it, turn number 8, going onto the Mistral straight, because if you're even a metre offline, if you've got to turn a little bit too much, it will cost you a mile an hour down the straight. Now, this will be after hooking the car in on a couple of curves through the left-hander to get onto that. So you've really got to make sure that you're...
Oh, if he gets a big snap out of turn 8, does Vidler.
Yeah, that won't do him too much harm, to be honest. He looked like he was carrying a lot of corner speed, so as long as he sorted it out at the apex, because the next corner's immediately on you, it won't hurt too much. It's not going to be as if you're going onto a long straight like the Mistral, where the damage is going to be a lot.
As he doesn't really find the apex at all going around turn 10. So I wonder how much that will have hurt him. Maybe a few tenths.
Well, quarter speed was fine, so it won't be too bad. It looks, the car didn't look slow through there. It's just depends on when he got on the power. We'll find out in a minute. Is he's going to pull himself over to the left-hand side now, and this will be part of his
crossover. Oh, so P2, half second down.
Yeah, so he had a really good base speed going through the lap. So when he did get a little bit loose through the fast right-hander, it didn't matter too much because he was immediately straight into another corner. So I think there's going to be another car crossing the line.
And this is Mornweg,
who first time out, isn't it, for him?
So we don't have a time for him just yet. ACC doing ACC things.
No way. You shocked me.
Serpentine towards the end of his lap. I do not believe this is his push lap. Then again, he is shifting a fair bit, heavy on the curb. So we'll wait and see. Quite reduced cornering speed around turn 10. So no, I don't think this is a push lap. As much as he is intermittently pushing. He did take the same
line, didn't he, as Vidler? So it's interesting to see exactly, with the Ferrari being as it is, exactly, it's gone way wide there. So I don't know whether he's outbraked himself.
I think this is an outlap. Well, obviously, we'll see very shortly. Yeah, it's an outlap. The extra wide line I found, you can carry a lot of speed there, and it will serve you down the first straight.
So we've got, who's next? R74, we got out there. Lander, so he's the AM driver, is he?
He is.
I don't believe he set a lap time, is he? So, no, but looking again a little bit, you can see he's got a little bit of confidence there. I don't know whether this is an outlap or not.
If not, I'm hovering over Mornweg to go to him, because he's definitely on a lap, because we watched him start his. And that's
just behind Heyman's, isn't he?
As Mornweg was backwards. So that's Mornweg out of qualifying now. That was his push lap, and he was backwards and reset to pits.
Yeah, pretty disastrous here. He won't get, per regulations, another go. So that's his lap done. Finito, over. So it's next. It's car 717. Is that Hyman's? Is he coming across the line? It's difficult to see exactly where people are with this. I think he's just set his time, hasn't he, Hyman? So he is down and up to third ahead of Mr. Overtaker. So Mr. Overtaker got back out and has delivered the goods there. They're all in a gaggle.
So Richings has just put himself second in class, about 3 tenths down from Michael van der Waal. We just picked him up going across the line.
Interesting to see that the AM drivers tend to be a bit... the 3 AM drivers are actually ahead of the Silvers at the moment, and they are Silvers that you'd expect to be towards the sharp end. So who's next? I think Townsend might be on an outlap, but we'll follow it anyway, because I want to make sure that we do get some big cross the line. Pulling himself over to the right hand side.
I'm going to hover over Serpentines. I'm pretty sure we did see him do an outlap. There's a Serpentine pulling towards the line now. Just letting the steering wheel take wherever it's taking him. Goes across the line and goes P7. So actually, still with AMs either side of him, but has got 2 AM drivers between him and his next competitor, Van der Waal and Richings.
Yeah, it's a pretty good lap, but that lap from Veets is looking better and better, isn't it? As
it is.
Clayton now coming out in the Aston Martin, so don't need to worry there. Now, Adam Sharp is out on circuit, but I do believe this is just a warm-up lap. This is just an out lap because he's going very gingerly through the final quarter. So we'll leave that. We'll stay with Darren Townsend, who is on a lap.
So the McLaren I do favour for being quite probably the most balanced car around this track. You do want to be slightly orientated towards top speed for the Mistral straight, but it can also handle the really squiggly bits around this track. So in terms of on balance, we've just seen somebody else fly up the leaderboard. So we can pick out who that was.
It was Coppens up into 13th and Darren Mark Davies up into 12th. So there's been a couple of van drivers. Usurp Chris Gebman. I was expecting better from him as we've got
Mr. Overtake has just gone 4th.
He feels like somebody's just set a second lap time. So why? Unless who else? Chris Gebman's back into 16th, so I don't know whether something's happened there. But
you could check the timetables that might show in there.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but Gebman's up in 7th. Now it's Steve Desare who's gone 6th. He's fastest in silver, and that's where we are. I was just looking, actually, I'll let you carry on here because I think he's just about to finish lap time, Darren Townsend, isn't he?
In the Prink McLaren. That's his steering wheel, take it wherever he's going, and pops himself in a very handy P11 in P4 in his championship.
Yeah, so again, usurping a load of silvers. It's interesting, I actually saw Adam Sharp on his lap. He's going to be finishing any moment. Warming his tyres up as he crossed the line, so track temperature, really a problem for these guys.
With a minute 50 left to go, we've got Sabino Gibino. And what a lap time that is! He's on P7, second in class behind Desire.
It's pace we've not seen from him. I think Morgan Grace is now about to come over the line, isn't he? With Sharp soon to follow. So, Grace now over the line. What can he do?
P5, just behind Mr. Undertaker.
P5. Not bad indeed. And then we've got the winner from last time out, Adam Sharp, now crossing the line in the Honda. He was currently, well, he was showing us 22nd. Obviously, he's 7th. So the Honda not proving to be to his liking. Not sure he'll be terribly enthused.
Now, Andrew Eden, in the absolute missile that is the Lexus, puts himself, unfortunate, only in P16, way off the pro battle.
Yeah, he was quicker than that Thursday, really quick on Thursday, so I think he's had a mistake somewhere. Not many cars out, are there? So 134, is that Gordon Brown coming across the line? 134.
Lamborghini not strong around here, strong in the first and final sector, but loses a good half a second to most cars around it along the Mistral Straight.
He'll be going again. I think this is what he's going to be for his one and only lap, obviously. I think the next one is car 34 now. It's 34 set a time. He has. So the next one's Marcel Basler, car number 3, going down the straight. Basler showing us 24th, obviously, because he hasn't yet set a time. Look how many drivers, though, have failed to set a time. It's unprecedented amount, isn't it, who have failed to set a legal lap time. So it's going to make it very interesting, certainly for the first race.
Yeah, I mean, that you see those markers on the outside there. There is some sort of limitation there that allows you to run just inside those, slightly off track, but you do need to keep tyres in contact with the road, or the curb at least. So to get the full extent of the time out of the track, you do need to try and use up that road. But obviously, all the same, risking invalidations. So we've got Basler just entering the final few turns here. So he realistically wants to be in the 154s. He's a little bit wide of the final turn, which is not what you want on your finishing your lap. Only really when starting. And where's he going to go? Goes at P12. So in amongst it with the silver tier drivers. And
it's a good lap there. He was one of those that was quite quick on Thursday, so he'll be maybe a little bit downhearted, but I think that's a really good lap time, given that his car didn't look exactly too happy. Now, Vaclav Poshpashil was another one in Pro who has gone 18th. He's joining Andrew Eden at the moment on row number 9. So a couple of Pro drivers not having it all their own way. Gordon Brown crosses the line now, fires himself out of corner, doesn't he, Gordon Brown? Across the line we go. Where's this going to be? For the Flying Scotsman, it is
P6. You'll
Good
be
lap
happy with
time.
that, I reckon.
You'll be very pleased with that. The Lamborghini not strong, especially down the Mistral down here, but it is a demon on the brakes, and so there is something to be made up, and I think he's justifiably very pleased with that as he goes on to one of the many layouts we have here.
Trying to set a sub 1 minute lap. Not like that, he won't. He's going to find himself in Germany.
No, I think he might need to come in for repairs, I think. But look at how many drivers haven't set a lap time. So just going to go through this with you. There's 36 in the field, and there's Flores, there's Alfa Dowie, who was at the sharp end, certainly in Austria, wasn't he? Kalugin, Kelleher, Smets, Lino, Steve, Dreadlock Steve, who's third in Am, Dronelander, Kruger, Thacker, Clayton, Shumakov, Sharp, Morniveg, and Felix. That's 15 drivers have failed to set a lap time. A couple of pros back there as well. A couple of pros that you really would expect to see a little bit further up. Marcolino's second in silver. Josh Clayton, who's pretty handy around here, pretty handy in the Aston Martin. So a lot of drivers who'll be out of position. That might actually make it a bit of an almost pseudo reverse grid race for some of those coming through the field.
So we do have some sanctions for tonight. Obviously, we've got Alfa Dowie, Faze, and Kruger that, despite qualifying or not setting a lap, will be starting from the pit lane.
That's VN Kruger starting a lap, or starting 2 laps, was he?
No, this was sanctioned pre-race.
Right. Okay. So a couple of drivers starting from the pit lane, or drive starting from the pit lane, obviously for previous misdemeanors. So not a great pit lane to be starting from, because it's a really long run to the first corner. It's a really long run, actually, in general, down that pit lane. It's quite a slow pit lane anyway, so drivers are going to struggle here. And what they're also going to struggle with here at night is visibility, obviously being the obvious factor here. There's some drivers who are better at navigating in the night than others. But also, you've got, for some drivers, if they've got a lot of lights behind them, it can be a little bit dazzling in terms of what you see in your mirror. So that'll be something for them to, obviously they'll be focusing forwards, but if you can see it in the back, it'll always play on your mind, and it'll always just catch your attention as you're going onto the brakes. And one of a couple of sort of really heavy braking zones we've got here. So a real mix of challenges here for the drivers. Certainly the ones that are going to have to come through. So like your Claytons, like possibly your Edens, your Pospazils, for example, your Alfa Dowies, who are towards the back, out of position, you would suggest. So they've got a lot more to navigate, and also tyre warm-up being what it is, you're going to have to make sure that your brake ducts are closed. You're going to have to make sure that your tyre pressures are not too cold, because if you can't get your tyres to warm up, they'll grain easier, and that means even in a 20-minute race, they'll be horrible to drive on very, very quickly.
And I was actually touched on it there, and I don't think we've mentioned it so far this evening, but if you're not familiar with the sprint format that FRL undertakes, here it is. Obviously, you've just witnessed our one-shot 15-minute quali, where every single driver only gets to set 1 lap if they invalidate. Tough. And now we go into a 20-minute sprint, which then, on the results of that, will get reversed for everybody that completed 70% of the race. And that grid gets reversed for the 40-minute sprint that will come afterwards, after a short lobby reset. Obviously, we'd love to bring you this sort of content. It's sponsored by Simnet, provider of high quality sim racing equipment, so do make sure you visit them for your sim racing equipment needs. If you are liking what you've seen so far this evening in terms of the organisation, the fun on track, do make sure to drop a comment and an admin will reach out to you to get you involved in either Assetto Corsa, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Gran Turismo, Formula 1. Basically, FRL has got you covered for all your sim racing needs. Not only obviously what's currently available, but other things that are coming out short and sweet. Project Motor Racing, Rensport has just been announced in FRL, so make sure you get involved. And if you are already involved, do consider getting more involved. We do have a Patreon available to help support everything that goes on here. It helps keep all the lights on, even though it's dark on the track right now. Keeps all the races commentated, keeps all the servers running. But it's not all just for us. You get priority access to race numbers, entering into racing events. You get your own practice server, and many more things. And that's just for the basic package of just £3 a month. So we're just a few seconds from countdown now, and we're going to get a rolling start over the line. As we can see, drivers have now set themselves to pits, and it's good to see that all three that I mentioned have found themselves to the pit lane. Now,
quite a few. So that's Davis, Alpha Dowie, Kruger, and Moravec. Quite a few there going towards the back now. This one's doubly difficult because you've got a short run up, haven't you? Before you warm your tyres up. So I'll hand back over to you, ready to take the start.
Yeah. So Vermeulen, as far as he can take himself away in qualifying, he only gets the same margin to start the race with. And he's got a very incentivised Vidler who's going to be around the outside. He can potentially carry speed through turn 2. And we are go, as we've already got a drive through with car 68. But we're going to concentrate on the front for now. So Vermeulen has got a very good start. He's on the inside. He's got his nose ahead. But can Vidler brake late? Looks like we might get the Porsche of Grace trying to challenge as well. But now Vidler just behind has got Heymans all over him. No, Heymans has dropped back. Mr. Overtake of the Ford has managed to find his way into third place.
Yeah, Hyman's completely missed that start because he was third on the grid and he's down to fifth. I think he's under attack from Gordon Brown in sixth. So horrible start there for the Flying Dutchman. He's lost out to Mr. Overtaker and Morgan Grace, and he'll be gutted with that because he was in a really good position to take advantage of anything from the other two. As now Vermeulen has to try and break the toe, leading the whole train of cars down the Mistral straight.
So provided his setup is low on drag, he should possibly have this covered. He's not really doing much in the way of weaving. He stayed to the inside of the track.
I think Mr. Overtaker's going to have a run, isn't he, at Vidler?
Yeah,
Vidler's
going
to the inside. Mr. Overtaker to the outside. Wait for ACC to catch up, but Vidler's going to hang on here. He's just going to have to keep it tight to the inside.
And then just behind, looks like Brown was making a move, and that has sent... Is that Heymans?
That's Tully
gone wide.
Yeah, Tully wide. Baszler's got up from 12th all the way up to 8th place, and he's got past Adam Sharp. So Adam Sharp not making the progress he would have hoped, but it's a long, short race, if that makes sense, in the Honda, so you can still go racing.
As
from
we
there,
have a spinner, 246. As then we catch Mr. Overtaker losing the rear and now under massive attack. Not from Morgan.
Back end overtaking, front end there. Hyman's around the outside. I think he's going to do it. Hyman's going to try and have a run now. Try not to collect the Porsche, but I think the door rub in there is one of those things. I think Mr. Overtaker should have the grunts to get down the inside into turn 1.
Yeah, the Mustang not letting me pushed off track, deterring from getting on the throttle. The loud pedal serving him well back into turn 1, and he's regained that position.
Problems for Darren Townsend as well, because he was up into the top sort of 12-13. He's now all the way back into, well, he's back in 29th. The car looking a bit doggy as well, so problems for him on the opening lap, as I think the lead is now starting to get a bit of a gap between first and second and third. I think Grace might be a bit vulnerable to the Ford though, with the Porsche lacking a bit of top end down the long straight.
So just flicked over, saw Faze overtaking Michael van der Waal there, just through the Essing section at the front, as I believe that is Richings getting overtaken in the background, or doing some overtaking. It's hard to tell in the dark. I saw a flash of pink, and then further behind, yeah, just behind Richings, got Dreadlock Steve and Adam Sharp duking it out.
I think that's Johnny Sharp. Adam's a little bit further up, but I think it was Richings doing some overtaking on Vidler. I think he's trying to get past. I think he's managed to do it, to be honest with you. So I think Silver there going backwards just a little bit there.
So Dreadlock Steve having to defend from Johnny Sharp and Josh Clayton going into turn 8. The Aston Martin does have mighty speed, but can it slow down well?
So Clayton's going to go around the outside. No, Steve going around the outside. I think he's just been passed by the Ferrari of Sharp.
As the McLaren of Kalugin going very wide around turn 9.
Yeah, it's pretty sensible stuff there from Dreadlock Steve. He can't just keep himself out of trouble.
As Popsicle finds a move of down what was the outside becomes the inside as we arch round turn 11. Incredible move, just massive advantage taken on the Aston Martin there, which looks for a moment that was going to dive back down the inside. And I think that's Dreadlock Steve, actually.
Yeah, so Bush Tully's got past Brown for 6th as well whilst we were looking at that. But I think Grace has been passed by Overtaker. Mr. Overtaker up into third in that Ford Mustang, using that grunt really to good effect. I think the Porsche now might be battling rearwards because Hyman's is looking pretty aggressive as ever in that Ferrari, isn't he?
He is. Obviously, he was right on the highlight wheel last week. Got lots of views on Instagram earlier on. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and all other social media channels. FRL, Formula Racing League. And Grace, as good as he's been driving, he is susceptible and he can't break toe on these straights. He's going to be losing time on every single lap. Freud does just seem to be closing on the straight. It's about how Grace can manage the braking zones.
I think he'll be fine in down this straight. I don't think the Porsche is quite going to catch him because I think.
Basler on Brown entering turn 8. Basler electing for the outside. It's an awfully strange camera angle. We're still side by side, all the way down the straight, all the way through turn 9. And Gordon Brown with the fantastic front end of the Lamborghini. Cutting to the inside, but Basler not taking enough. Oh, and he's pushed him wide.
Yeah, that was ambition ahead of talent, really, there from Basler.
Oh, and he's slowing down to give it back, but this is invited Sharp in.
But Adam Sharp's going to say, thank you very much, I'll have 2 places. Thank you. Is he going to lose out to the Lamborghini? I think he's just about going to get the drop on him, but the Lamborghini's going to try up the inside again on the brakes. Now, Sharp could try and cut
as he gets touched
Brown
again.
Stopped on the apex, and they're still side by side. Don't think there was any harm done, but the back end looking dog-eared on the Lamborghini as Sharp now down the inside. I think he'll have it here.
It depends. The Lamborghini's good on the brakes. It depends who fancies this. Sharp doesn't swing to the outside. Brown does.
I think Brown's
He's had to concede that. But this is invite Basler back into it. Basler, who, through fairness, gave the position back, but now the Aston Martin, Bentley, of Wheats is coming in for it as well. And there's a throw down with that Serpentine. Serpentine bumps.
What is he doing there?
Oh, that was way too optimistic from Serpentine. And now we've got multi-car pile-up going into turn 3. Brown, no fault of his own.
That's quite poor driving. I don't really understand what Serpentine was trying to do there, to be honest with you, because you can see there's 2 or 3 cars up ahead battling away, and he's just dived to the inside. It seems quite desperate stuff, wiggling his wheels at anybody that moves, and not good. But
look at this. We've got Brush Tully on Haymans coming down towards turn 8, end of the Mistral straight. Brush Tully in the Porsche on the Ferrari, finding fantastic speed. Must have had an electric exit out of turn 7, and he finds his way to the inside, but no. Wouter Haymans has found his way around the outside and can defend for a little while longer.
Yeah, decent grip there from the Ferrari. Wouter Haymans there did really well to not panic. Left the cars width on the inside as well. Very fair racing indeed. Right, there's a battle quite far back actually. Van der Waals he's got Brown behind, he's got Gordon Brown behind, as well as Chris Getman in there as well, and Dale Kelleher. There's a real scrap going on. I think Gordon Brown's Lamborghini obviously been really, really damaged, obviously from the earlier instance. I think Kelleher's now going around the outside. Is there a bit of a bash there from Getman into Kelleher? I think there might have been some other shenanigans behind with Richington Sharp. I'll have a look at that a little bit later on. But a real dogfight there for what is P17 in the race.
I know some of these corners have some alternate lines that you can use, but the only line that's correct is the one that doesn't run you into your competitors. As a big snap from Gedman on the exit of the final turn, which has then invited Richings along his inside, but Richings is going to have to make it work as he heads into turn 1. But the
BMW's straight line speed and superior braking should be pretty good. He's run slightly wide though, so we've got
there's a bit of a touch. Gedman's lost the rear, but he's regained it, but that's not enough time.
Admin on admin there as Kelleher, I think.
Not
thank you very much. I'll take
he's not Velbin, he is in the BMW.
So admin versus admin, they're biffing and buffling into each other, but Kelleher said we'll see that as poetic really, because of the fact that obviously there was contact with him and Gedman earlier in the lap. So down the front straight we've got Brush Tully having a go again at Hyman's. He is not quite as close, I don't think, but he might be able to set it up into Leclerc corner, which we'll come to very shortly. Although they're both catching Grace. Grace not having the pace that was his qualifying pace, and so I think this might be a 3-way battle for 4th coming up very soon.
Grace has been the cork in many a bottle in his years in Formula Racing League. So chooses the car with possibly some of the lowest top end speed, but fantastic traction, fantastic brakes, great handling ability, and he uses that to his advantage as and when it comes around, and he's going to have to use all of his skills possible to try and get the best exits to make sure he's not completely compromised on the vast straights on this track as he enters the final turn.
But Gepman's gone backwards 2 or 3 positions. Sorry to cut in because there's a big battle still. I think Kelleher, I think Sharp, Kalugin has also gone past Gepman. If I had to guess, I'd say he's about 23rd.
Oh, it's a big spin from Kelleher. Kelleher's lost the rear. And now he's parked in turn 11. And now he's going to cut a big section of the track to try and rejoin for the final turn. Oh, that's a bit naughty.
I thought the rejoin was fine there. There's no other thing he could have done, really. You know, he's entered the track at a safe space off the waiting line.
I was more thinking the advantage that he failed to lose.
Well,
more so, less so than the actual positioning of his car on rejoin.
He didn't exactly gain anything, to be fair. He'd already lost a bucket load of positions facing backwards. It was about the only thing he could have done, really.
But Brush Tully once again behind Heymans and Grace. Here's hoping 3-car battles haven't served this race so far. So hoping when this one comes together, the guys at the front.
Really good run, isn't he? Really good run. I think Grace is going to be in serious bother here.
Yeah, it's gone defensive. And looks like Heymans already has the nose ahead, but Grace forever feisty. No, he's lost the position. Nothing much he could have done. Car was fully ahead at the apex of turn 8.
Good
That's
move.
Brush Tully's turn. Yeah, fantastic move.
So Ima's had success out there on the outside when defending from Brush Tully, and so uses that really well, doesn't he? Serpentine, meanwhile, after his event earlier, he's half a second back from Desire. We haven't really spoken about, but he is second in silver, and so that really should be celebrated because he's only got Baszler ahead. Baszler is, in my view, sort of borderline pro. He's certainly mixing it with a load of pro drivers on Thursday night in the late night world still, which you can see at 10:30 UK time. And you've got Veets there, who's gone about his business really well in that Bentley. It was strong last time out as Anvil, wasn't he? And it's again a really strong showing from Veets in the first knockings of this one.
Yeah, I mean, Veets driving the lump of lard that is the Bentley, but I tell you, you put it on a straight, it will step away from you, and that's what Desire and Serpentine are fighting now. Well, they're not really fighting him. They can fall behind Wheat. They can compete for their bottom steps to the podium for the silver tier without having to worry Wheats too much. But I can only hope. Grace has now dropped behind Brush Tully as well. We've missed that move, but he's now going to have to see off Sharp, who's the last of this gaggle of pro tier drivers.
So the next I can see for a battle is between Fars in 12 and Poshbashil in 13. Poshbashil on a bit of a recovery drive after earlier issues. So I'll see how this goes, because Fars and the McLaren would expect to have the speed down the straight, but Poshbashil getting a really good exit.
This wasn't in the script. The Porsche out dragging the McLaren. He has been sent to quite the extreme inside by FaZe, but they will both try and open up the corner now. Poshbashil's going to want to try and bring the car back out wide so he can try and ace turn 8. But he's already got it done. He can join the line.
Don't know whether Fars might have just backed out there, but it's sensible driving all round because it's an AM who's in second in class and a pro who's on a bit of a recovery run. So I think it's sensible driving. Well, great move, by the way, from Poshbashil. Did well to set that up in the Porsche. And Fars driving really
we've got
fairly
Mornweg trying to go around the outside of turn 9. Just pick this up at the back. This is Silver on AM. And he's just got washed out by turn 9, but he's got the traction. He's coming back, going to try and go round the outside of turn 10. And here he goes. This is a great move. Finds his way back to the inside, and a nice drive out of the corner there.
Yeah, Thacker's front end not looking in original condition, so I think the AM might be struggling a little bit there, but good driving from Morningberg after his early shenanigans with qualifying, so done really well there. Now, I think as well, Chubakov's, no, he's not 1/10 behind anymore.
No. So we've got Desire on Wheat, battle for P9. We originally said that Wheat had managed to gap himself from this battle, and with Desire seeing off Serpentine and actually managed to find a second's gap for the moment, he now has a small opportunity to have a go on Wheats.
Yeah, he's had a bit of an adventure, Reeds, because he was about 2 seconds back. He's now 4 seconds off of the next car. But the Bentley probably the one car you want to be defending in, isn't it? As Desire lines him up there. Serfontain's got a bit wide through previous quarter, so he won't be a factor. But Desire is gaining, isn't he? But the Bentley, it isn't really troubled by anything in the straight line. That's one thing about the Bentley, is that it's just give it a bootful and you'll be fine down the straight.
Yeah, it just sort of reminds you like the original Bugatti Veyron just looks like it shouldn't go anywhere, but just the power just eliminates all of the factors.
Richings might be coming under attack from Kalugin in 17th.
So rest assured, everyone, I will look into better cameras for the next round.
Oh, what you could do, but I think, yeah, Kalugin's not quite able to pass down the straight.
No, he's a bit slow off turn 8, and that's got Sharp all over the back of him, and Sharp's going to find a tighter line here, and that's with Richings washing out wide as well. Richings, I think maybe just using the camera of the corner there, because he did result in the end actually having a bit more speed, but then around the outside goes Johnny Sharp, and he's got that one done.
Yeah, so Sharp's still in behind Kalugin there, and it's Clayton who's on the back as well. So 3 pros in this, stuck behind a couple of Silvers as they come through. I think Eden's had an adventure somewhere as well, hasn't he? But yeah, Kalugin doing rather well here to hold off. But I think it's Richings doing a lot of a job for a bit of a job for Richings there, as I think there's going to be more drama into turn 1.
So Kalugin, I think, just went a little bit wide at the last turn. He has managed to find good traction though. Will Sharp try it? He's really close behind. No, he stays line astern. But Kalugin giving it absolutely everything. He looks like he's really struggling to keep Sharp behind. And these cars, this Pro Tier pack behind Kalugin, really starting to stack up. But he does want that position on Richings though. He's not willing to give that up for the sake of letting the pro drivers through. And then he drifts wide.
There's a bit of a balancing act to strike here, and I'm not sure that Kalugin struck the right one here. Because I think Sharp's actually gone around the outside. Did he go off the track? I'm not sure the stewards will mind too much because of where the other car was. But Clayton has also got past Kalugin. Kalugin is swamped now by Eden, so what was 18th is now 21st, with obviously no loss in terms of class. But Eden, down the inside of Clayton, that Lexus is fast and the fasting, isn't it, down the straights?
Yeah, so that's Kalugin losing the 3 positions to Pro Tier drivers all in the space of a corner and a straight. But now he's got to watch out because now Mornweg has got to rely on him.
There has got past speeds in the Bentley, but battle for second because Fiddler does appear to be beginning to reverse into the back of Overtaker, with Mr. Overtaker now half a second behind, and in a car you would suggest would be superior down the main straight. So if he can stay close to him coming out of the complex, then I think that Mr. Overtaker will have a run going into the fast right-hander at the end of the Mistral.
Would you put the Mustang as maybe the top car to have on this track?
Not really in terms of all-round package, but certainly down that straight, you'd probably look at the Bentley's probably the better one, or the Lexus. Mustang's up there, but I think the proof's in the pudding, and the Ferrari is probably the strongest around here, just looking at the makeup of the top 10.
Ferrari just the favourite absolutely everywhere, isn't it?
It is. So,
look at the closing speed of the Mustang here.
They've got some car ahead that doesn't help.
So maybe Vidlo maybe got a bit of slipstream to boot there. Now we've taken it to the inside, but the wider line with Vidler, good defensive positioning.
Yeah, I think that ideally want that car out the way if you miss the overtaking, because he is giving a bit of, I think it's Mendes, who is giving a little bit of a toe, isn't he? It's not Mendes, it's Marcolino, so my apologies to you, Trevor. But he's given a bit of a toe to second place Vidler, and I think that could be all that the Ferrari needs. But if the Ford can get a better exit, because I think he was a little bit wayward, if he can get a better exit down the straight, we might not need it here, but if he can get a better exit coming out of the corners, then he will pass him down the end there. Vidler there,
Mr. Overtaker.
Well, Vidler was a little bit wayward,
oh,
wasn't he?
He's got a drive-through. Drive-through from Mr. Overtaker.
Yeah, so he's flashing Vidler there. I don't think he's very happy at all. But I think Vidler there backed him up and almost made him take evasive action going through the final corner, and I think that's why he's flashing away like an angry wasp.
And he's got no opportunity to actually serve that now, as we've watched Brush Tully cutting a large section of track.
Sorry, I was still with Mr. Overtaker. He's raining down the inside going into turn number 2. It was almost to make a bit of a point there, but Vidler now dropping back to 3rd on the road, but that won't matter at all. I think we haven't heard the last of that. I think the Overtaker might be saying something a little bit later on. I don't think I blame him. It's a little bit frustrating when that happens. Got then Adam Sharp in 7th, going on to the back in the Honda of the Porsche. So the Porsche of Morgan Grace dropped to 6th now and is struggling a little bit. I don't think he's quite going to catch him, but it'll be interesting to see the closing speed of that Honda compared to the Porsche.
Oh, so we've got another drive-through. Car number 5, that's just Clayton.
Yeah, it won't matter to him. So he's 19th and last in class, pretty much.
So it looks like Vidler has let Mr. Overtaker through, but to no avail. He knows that position's his.
Yeah, Mr. Overtaker threw it down the inside going into turn 3. Probably as much to demonstrate his unhappiness as I think Vermeulen is now coming around the final corner.
So we've not really covered him this evening, and I think you know why. The imperious man, Mr. Jazzman, comes to the line, has led from start to finish, and will now start from the back of the grid in the following sprint. Mr. Overtaker would have liked to have earned that position through on-track action. I think Vidler's basically sacrificed that one in lieu of the drive-through that Mr. Overtaker's just got, and Wouter Hamers will come home for a probably well-deserved 3rd.
Yeah, he's been quite quiet for Mr. Hamers. Usually there's a lot going on around him, so it's actually been a pretty peaceful race for the Dutchman. So good driving there. Made up for what was a really bad opening lap, wasn't it? You know, dropped back 2 positions. Good work there as Baszler wins in silver. And Vince, top 10 as an AM driver is always really good in the field of 40, so you can be really pleased with that in the Bentley.
Yeah, and obviously a big field spread between him and his AM tier partners. As Coppens.
As far as in 14th.
Oh, Cops only just beat Sharp over the line. The Coppens only slowly falling through the pro drivers in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, Fars and Coppens would typically have thought, yeah, we've had really good races for an AM driver, and they're still, 10 and 12 seconds almost, or 13 seconds off of the back of it. So it tells you how well he did.
So it looks like the field spread at the back is quite distant. So yeah, well done to all finishers. Got Gedman, who was obviously caught up in that big coming together that you saw earlier on.
There will be a couple of drivers who will be starting at the back behind the leaders. Dreadnought Steve's 2 laps down, so he might be okay, but I think there's Alpha Dowie, if he comes back, will be starting right at the very back. So the BMW there is going to be in strife. Mr. Overtaker dropped to 14th overall, and what would have been 9th in class. So he'll be very frustrated with that after a skirmish with Vidler. So Vermeulen wins, obviously, from Vidler, Hymans, Brush, Tully, Grace, Sharp's top 6. Baszler wins in silver in 7th ahead of Desert, and Serfontaine 3rd in class. With whether he'll keep that remains to be seen, obviously, through the incident earlier. Vates in 9th in the end, 10th on the road in AM. He finishes ahead of Fars, who was 13th in AM class, 2nd in class, and Coppens 3rd in class, who was 17th. So I think that's going to be your runners and riders, whilst I think you've got some sponsorship to go through, and I know you plugged them very much earlier on, and I think some highlights to go and grab, if I'm not mistaken.
I've already grabbed them. I'm just going to go put them on as we leave the server for the reset that the admins are going to do for us. So we'll just pull up the highlights to fill the interlude that we have. So don't go anywhere. Obviously watch the highlights, stay with us, and yeah, we'll join back in for the reverse grid 40-minute sprint. So the replay is chosen to focus on Brush Tully for the opening lap, and I think he did make a few positions up quite early on. You can see him in centre of the picture there, stuck behind the Ferrari of Wouter Hamans. Very sensible. I always quite like the middle of the track around here. gives you the options to swing out. Oh, as he actually chooses to cut the first turn, which is potentially quite sensible. Better than trying to go deep on turn 2. But I guess that's what allowed Gordon Brown to make up positions early on.
Yeah, Brown obviously back in his happier times in the early parts before the incident, which I won't offer to. I think I offered enough comment on, to be fair, at the time. So I think the stewards will probably be having a look at that, knowing Gordon Azadui's a fairly prim and proper racer himself, so I don't think he'll be wanting that to go unlooked at, because it was a good battle between him and I can't remember who else it was. Just in front, might have been Adam Sharp just passing, and then Cefertain obviously getting a little bit excitable there. Unfortunately, it just seemed like he braked a bit too late, and then realised too late that he needed to make alternative arrangements. But,
so I think we caught this one on stream. Poppersill choosing a wide line around turn 10, which eventually becomes a long inside line for turn 11. So we caught that one.
Yeah, good driving between those two. It was sensible enough as well, wasn't it? Because you've got plenty of drivers who would have thought that unnecessarily, and then a couple who do, try and fight where perhaps it needs to be, but sensible driving there when you've got a bigger picture to think about.
So then we catch Alpha Dowie absolutely claiming turn 1, but then ultimately losing the car on the rear coming out of turn 2, but with the grunt of the BMW really covering that off regardless. Now we've got Alpha Dowie once again, but this time being overtaken by Danny Felix in the Bentley. 2 powerhouses. So that's Alpha Dowie, who did originally go off track.
Died not long after. Alpha Dowie, so I think he had a pretty wretched race.
Looks like there's some more going on behind him. So this is Gordon Brown, Adam Sharp, like you said, battling hard around lap 3.
This might be what I was referencing earlier. It just depends on how long it follows it. But Brown obviously going side by side with the Ferrari.
And then parks on the apex. And actually got kind of punted out of the corner.
Going side by side with the Honda, sorry, not the Ferrari. Easy mistake to make.
And then we can just about see the Ferrari of Serpentine just behind.
Basically behind side by side here as Brown gets roughed up. So that's all fine, no problem there. And you've got Baszler to the outside there, and if you just look at the background, with Feats even behind them, but look, unfortunately, he's just gone far too deep on the brakes, and that's...
And Serpentine actually cuts the corner of turn 3.
Yeah, it's not great. I don't think he'll be looked back on that with pride and pleasure, I'm afraid. Just because when you have to cut the corners to make a move and you're still running into the side of somebody, it's a kind of 101 really of moves you don't make with that one, especially when the car's going side by side. You'll probably pick one of them off down the straight. So learning experience there for us, Serpentine, and one I'm sure he'll take on board.
So we're just still waiting for the lobby to be reset. Choose a different person to go on the first lap. We're going to keep rolling this round until we've got a server. Once again, do consider joining FRL. It's one of the best places to be for sim racing, if not the best. The slogan is sim racing at its very best. Make sure you know that. Obviously, we have one of the lead admins, if not owners, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Veldman. In the chat tonight, so if you are interested in joining FRL, drop Veldman a note and I'm sure he'll send you an invite to whatever area of the server is necessary, or logging into SimGrid if that is the avenue for racing, like it is for Assetto Corsa Competizione. FRL is a whole host of racing options, whether it be Assetto Corsa, iRacing, Assetto Corsa Competizione like we do here, Gran Turismo. I've just seen Rennsport announced in the server, and I believe Pro Street Motor Racing probably isn't too far away either. So do get involved in that. You're only an invite away from your sim racing dreams coming true. The evening is sponsored by, and league is sponsored by Simnet. creator of high quality sim racing equipment, so make sure you log on to their site and book yourself in for an experience of your dreams. Upgrade your sim racing setup at your discretion. If you're already within the server, make sure you consider joining the Patreon. Offers start at just £3 a month. Helps keep all the lights on. Helps make sure you've got commentators, servers, and everything else good about FRL, but also gives you all the advantages of early access to events, priority racing numbers, and your own practice server as well, and many more perks as well, especially if you start climbing the Patreon ladder. I feel like I've missed something. What have I missed? What else can I plug?
For your Patreon subscription as well, you can get a picture made and a graphic made by Chris Gebman, which is always nice. They're always pretty good. I always say it's less than the Big Mac and it's much better for you, so there's that. And we get, obviously, you've got the Taco Tuesday races as well. I think they're going back to rallying, aren't they? I don't know if they've done that or not. But they're going back to rallying at some point soon, obviously with the release of that for PlayStation Plus. But yeah, the race, the ACC stuff, which is the one that you will, I'm sure, want to see Tuesday nights at 8:30, I think, is just a race at the moment, so commentators wanted almost. And you've got the Thursday nights with myself on from 10:30, always really good to get involved in, because the grids are a bit smaller, but they are a lot closer than anywhere else you get. I mean, we had 17 cars covered by 1 second on Thursday night last time out in terms of qualifying, so always something to really good to get involved in. Obviously this one, the Sunday night, sorry, which is kind of where it's at with Simnet's help.
Ooh,
as well.
As we've joined the server to see wet plaguing the track.
So let's see what the weather. See if there's a weather forecast that will show us anything for 40 minutes. You don't have to pit now, so it's almost run what you brung. Really, you're probably going to have to judge the conditions on what they are rather than what they will be. Because whereas beforehand, when you had to pit, you could put tyres on and you'd be 30 seconds quicker by the time it all shook out. But now it's a bit different in terms of you lose. You don't have to stop, so you'd lose a minute and a half nearly coming into the pits and sorting all of that out. So rain at the moment, but the track should it's greasy, so it's going to rain heavy, and then it's going to be dry. That's if it's practice at the moment. I can have a look at the timetables and see what time the race is going to get underway. It should be. So the race is Sunday 8 AM free practice, and then in 2 hours time, game time, the race will be 45 minutes. It might well be that the rain is cleared ever so slightly by the time they start.
We don't want that, though. We want drama.
I personally would like some drama, especially as the fact that this is going to be in daylight, so I'm not going to have the excuse of the rain not help, or the night, not helping things. Things should be pretty visible with it as wet as it currently
also help
is.
us actually identifying the drivers.
That's handy, yeah. They've thought of us a little bit more second race around, haven't they? So that's always good and always helpful.
So Papa still giving us a nice early showing of the conditions. As we are just about 2.5 minutes out from the server resetting to the grid. So we do have this practice session just so the drivers all have a chance to rejoin. Pretty much everybody has now, so that's a good sign. So yeah, I mean, this championship is proven to be very hot. A lot of overtakes being made from the grid to the finish, which is obviously great to see. Great to see that contrast between outright qualifying pace, especially obviously keeping your nerve in qualifying as well, and obviously those who just deal better settling into a race and then finding time there and possibly making overtakes, a bit more track experience. Obviously it does make a difference when you can put practice. Looks like obviously just drifting a little bit around turn 9. So obviously so far the championship isn't really representative because of the we are of 2 rounds, got 1 round dropped, So it's basically everybody's best results out of 2 rounds so far.
That will start to change shape really in the next sort of 2 rounds or so. That will be when we start to look at it as the season sort of goes into sort of the latter part of November. That's when we'll start being able to draw permutations and so-ons and whatnots and what-ifs, etc. At the moment, we're just starting to get a picture of the competitive, well, a layout really of the competitive picture, which is led by Vermeulen, and then it's a bit of a dogfight at the moment to be second.
Yeah, so all of those that are maybe not too familiar with the drop round dynamic, obviously I imagine if you're here listening to this, you probably are, but for those that, God forbid, are not, the drop round basically exists to account for obviously unforeseen circumstances. So, for example, I race on Taco Tuesday in FRL. Fantastic evening of racing, just 1 hour singular pit stop. Very much more standardised racing in a set of course Competizione. And last week I had a very dramatic wheel malfunction where my car decided to stop changing gears, hit the throttle full and veer right, and kept doing donuts until I eventually ended the game. And thankfully, due to a drop round, that isn't going to go on to affect my championship. Obviously, it will do, because people will have a great opportunity to score points. Obviously, they'll sit their best, whereas my drop round will just be a total DNF. But it will help me compete all the same, which is why the drop round is available within this championship. And obviously, many championships are associated with GT3 and endurance racing. We are just waiting for the max wait time to end, so a few cars are going to cross the line and finish, and then we'll be underway and we'll get to show you how the reverse grid has formed. Obviously, naturally it will be formed out of all those that you saw completing the majority of the laps being reversed, and all those that didn't remaining in their positions at the back of the grid.
Waiting for a couple of cars who've got out on sites really to see how wet or how Ricard feels, which is why the delay. Normally you want cars to be getting in, but actually I don't blame anybody, especially if you're in a Bentley which is not famed for its wet weather prowess. I don't actually blame any of them for going out there and having a little look at the track, because it's going to be a much different thing, much different circuit to the one that they've just driven around. And that sounds silly because we're at the same track, same layout, but we're in the day, so the track's that bit warmer, and with the wet weather potentially a factor, then it's going to be very difficult for those drivers, if they haven't done any prep laps, to be able to adjust.
Yeah, I mean, tracks nowadays are very close to almost living, breathing things. They have filtration requirements. They'll have rideable, non-rideable curbs, whether that be due to slip or height. You've got your runoffs, your gravel areas, which can become more or less rideable. And obviously your braking points change. Areas that were originally flat now require a lift. And in real life, obviously, if you watched in the F1 recently, last week out, 2 weeks ago at Mexico, they were running Monaco levels of aero, but just because of the air density. So do not underplay the importance of track change dynamics. As we now see your reverse grid with Trevor Mendes being the man to lead us away this evening. Trevor Mendes, who has, I think we noted him down as probably the most improved driver of last season, did we not?
We did, and he had a difficult one last time out, didn't he? I think he got caught up in one of the incidents early doors, but he'll have a bit of trouble from behind with Dreadlock Steve, who had been going rather well and was very strong in the feature race, or in the longer race last time out as well. So he'll have a bit of trouble there, but I expect that Trevor can get gone, because he's got Marcolino, Floris, Trotman, Felix and Dronelander behind him, with the next sort of silver car being Chris Gebben, who hasn't exactly been on top form this evening. So he wasn't too bad on Thursday, but for whatever reason he's not been able to get it together this time around. You've got Darren Mark Davies, who'll be starting from the pit lane, I do believe. There, I think Faz, wherever he is as well, he's a little bit further back, isn't he? So he'll be starting from the pit lane. As a couple of cars have left. So there is one driver starting at the back, who failed to complete his allotted laps before you can actually qualify to start in the reverse grid race. That's Omar El Fadawi, who starts in 40th behind Jared Vermeulen. Vermeulen, obviously, being the man to watch coming through the field. Be interesting to see exactly how well he can get through on the opening laps, because I think that'll make or break his victory chances.
Yeah, as obviously, as opposed to previous races, there is this is probably one of the most condensed sort of sections of pro drivers that we've had. They've previously been fairly split with the silver tier drivers. So Vermeulen very much immediately in with his regular competitors with Vidler, Haymans, Brush, Tully and Grace. 20 seconds. So we've got a countdown now until we start rolling towards the start. Now obviously what we want to avoid is any concertina effect into the first two turns with those that may be a little bit more hesitant, braking earlier, and the more experienced drivers trying to brake a bit longer, trying to carry more speed. Caution needs to be applied. Opportunities will present themselves. We've got 45 minutes. I believe I said 40. I do apologise. 45 minutes of sprint racing. No pit stops required. And here they go. Trevor Mendez fires himself away.
Davies, Kruger, Fast in the pits, as well as El Fadawi, who starts at the back. Anyways, that might be why he was not bothered about finishing the race once it went wrong.
Yeah, so it looks like Dreadlock Steve showing his intention right away. Actually, he's pulling his nose ahead of Trevor Mendez as they went around the final turn. And we are 3, 2, 1, go! Off we go! Trevor Mendez did like a good drop, but Dreadlock Steve got one as well. The straight line speed of the Aston Martin. Can he find his way to the outside? Trevor Mendez taking a bit of a tight line, but now starts to drift out to the right. Jinx is braking into the first turn, takes the inside line, but look at Dreadlock Steve go. Fantastic experience move around the outside, and off he goes. And that's going to be a hard car to pass as the race develops.
Yeah, a bit of experience there shown from Dreadlock Steve. He goes right around the outside, and Trevor Mendez didn't have the grip on the inside as part
Floris on Lino.
Goes down the inside of Marcolino.
So they crisscross through to do, but then looks like Floris does manage to get Lino. So I think,
vulnerable, I think Danny Felix now down the straight. That Bentley's going to eat him up for breakfast if he's not careful. No, he isn't, because he's got off. And as soon as I said that, put the mockers on him. And he's going to have to work hard to feed back in. Meanwhile,
Trotman is under massive pressure from Clayton. Clayton and the Aston Martin. He's got a double draft behind the two BMWs of Gedman and Trotman. Three very, very fast cars, but it looks like Trotman's got the better slipstream. Off Gedman ahead. Can he nip it down to the inside? Will the Strutsy now abandon him? There's battles everywhere. We've got Keller behind as well being attacked. Felix behind being attacked by Keller.
Gedman survived. And now Clayton's just got to try and pick his way through, because if he gets through quickly enough, he'll be the favourite to win the race.
As I think we had a car going wide there.
That was Dronelander. Dronelander's being picked off by a couple of the pro drivers, so he's got Sharp behind him. Sharp, obviously, another man slightly out of position earlier on. Meanwhile, Vermeulen has climbed up past a couple of... Well, there's been a few drivers go off.
Oh, and that's Floris. Floris drifting wide around turn 10, and that's given up places to Gedman and Trotman, and now he's been attacked by the Bentley of Felix. And he's got that one done. Now Felix fancies his way down the inside of the 007.
Looking a little bit busy behind, wasn't it? With, I think was it Townsend in the McLaren? There's a huge gaggle of cars. Look at Townsend. Look at what he's fighting off with Kelleher and Floris going down the inside. 3 wide isn't going to work here, chaps. And I think they realise that, because
but no, Kelleher's tried to cut the corner.
Don't think that's a bad idea either. If he can feed back in and make sure that he doesn't gain a place, he'll have to give a couple of places up, I would have thought. Otherwise, he might be in a bit of trouble.
As we've got now 4 wide behind. Oh, and it looked like Jabino got squeezed, and he just managed to keep his car facing a straight line.
Yeah, they've done well to get through that, because it's chaos out there. A couple of the pros moving up the order. So Sharp and Mr. Overtaker, 13th and 14th. Mr. Overtaker with 27th, I think, on the grid. Vermeulen's up into 29th, plus Hyman's, Vidler and Sharp, and the pros starting to move their way through past a couple of the lesser experienced.
So Mr. Overtaker got an enormous draft in, moving 1, 2, and now he's getting a draft from the third. Oh, this is going to be quite the move. Can he take 3 cars in one straight. He's going to give it a go. He's got. Has he done it? He has.
He has.
4 cars in one straight. Incredible.
But Flores rather sensibly didn't put brains before didn't put ball before brains, because he backed out there, I think, with Sharp following behind, and Flores, I think, fighting with Kelleher. No, he wasn't fighting with Kelleher, was he? He was fighting with Gabino. So those two driving quite sensibly there, because otherwise that would have been a bit of a plane crash. So good driving all around there.
I tell you what, going back to the lead, Straight Up Steve has not dropped Trevor Mendes. Only half a second gap.
I didn't think he would, because Steve has been pretty good, but Mendes has also shown himself to be pretty handy. I think the battle for 4th with Clayton and Getman might reach its conclusion by the end of the Mistral, because I think Clayton, once he does get past Getman, if he does get past Getman, should be able to then set about Lino ahead.
I think... Oh, as we've got a car turn round, that is the Bentley of Felix. Oh, and he's returned and he's reversed into another car off track.
No, you can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. The rejoin police will be out on his case, I think. There, you can't be reversing out like that. You've got to keep yourself stopped, and you've got to keep yourself predictable. Unfortunately, Felix, he had it right initially when he was out on the outside, but failed to do that. That's going to be a pretty
that
heavy
is a
penalty.
car wide, going on to the Mistral.
Mendes thinks it's a lapped car. Don't worry about it, it's a lapped car. So Clayton now having another go at Gedman, is he? Down the long straight. Gedman does appear to have the legs on him, just a little bit down as we go to the fast right-hand.
I don't think he acquired the exit to there, but look, Mr. Overtaker behind on an absolute mission. Oh, he's got a car backwards on the straight. That's Moravec.
Moravec spun into him. That's why I was explaining. Moravec spun into Mr. Overtaker, so Mr. Overtaker's going to have a lot of damage on that side. I think he got clipped and was then sent over the back straight, sent across the back straight and into Mr. Overtaker, but they're trying to go 3 wide.
Oh, but here goes Clayton down the inside of Gedman. He's found his nose to the inside of turn 10, and he's just going to ease him out and then claim the curb on the exit through turn 11.
Good move.
It was coming. It was coming.
So you remember I said about off-camber corners, making sure that your turn-in's right. That's an example of it, because if your car has got good better turn-in and decent turn-in, got good a front end, then you will make that move if you can catch the other car napping a little bit. So
look at this train back from Trotman. We've got blue flags held up in there as well.
Yeah, so it's Kelleher, isn't it? It's Kelleher behind. I think there's a McLaren there which shouldn't be at the moment.
Oh, Kelleher's gone wide. Oh, Kelleher's gone back across the track. But I think he's just about managed to get his brakes on in time. Yeah, it's a good, well done. Good skill with a bit of luck as well. But if you do the right thing, the luck will find you.
Yeah, he's gone backwards. I don't know whether he just dropped it, to be fair. He might well have just dropped it.
I think he did. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, because there's nothing on the back end. There's more contact there. Flores and Trotman got together into the complex there. I think it's Trotman facing backwards.
So just on with Mr. Overtaker at the moment. Obviously, Boyd, with the position that he got after his penalty from the last race, started much higher than he probably warranted. But he's making the most of it. He's got quite an extreme inside line at the moment on Gedman. 2 speed demons.
Got him. I think
provided Gedman can hang around that side. No, that's done.
Yeah, when you've got that Ford there as well, you've got the inside, you can pretty much do what you like. It's one of the fastest cars down the straight. Gedman's got to just focus now on Marco Lino.
Serpentine on Eden down the inside through turn 9. Beautifully tightly held line.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Lexus, there are corners around here, which is a bit of a problem for the Lexus. So done very well there. Is that Richings having a go?
It is Richings.
And Brush Tully there in close attendance as well. So I suspect that the Porsche driver's just waiting for this to go through. He's done really well to come through the field, because Brush Tully has got through ahead of, you've got Desert, and then you can see Vermeulen already up into 15th. As I think Brush Tully goes down the inside, does he?
He doesn't quite get the space, then wiggles out, and that's allowed Desert up his inside. And I think in a straight fight with power, I think Desert's going to have this one. But what will Vermeulen do? Vermeulen's going to sniff an opportunity here.
The Porsche traction will help there, but Desert's got to play it sensible, especially with the front end looking a little bit beaten up already. He doesn't want to do anything too much with Brusciatelli going around the outside. Being optimistic there from Brusciatelli to try and make that move there. You kind of really have to be fully alongside. Here comes Vermeulen now.
Oh, as he gets really squeezed through turn 3. And a wise old head on his shoulders keeps him in play. So now he gets Brusciatelli. Nice little cutback. And now he appears right in a massive gaggle of cars with Richings at the head of it. Richings, who is probably going to get picked off by Desert here.
Brusciatelli's back through. Vermeulen, but Vermeulen got bulled by a lap to McLaren, but I think Vermeulen might just have him down the straight here. Brusciatelli's going to have to go to the inside to defend this, or he's going to try and keep the high race.
Two moves going on here, but staying with Desert first. So Desert to the inside isn't going to quite get that done. What about Vermeulen?
Vermeulen hasn't managed it yet, but I think he might just cut down the inside here. Now he is going to go to the inside.
Oh, Brusciatelli covers it off quickly.
Now you can have a run down the inside. You won't hear because Vermeulen's understood why, but if you can get a good run on the inside, you actually get a bit of grip there. He normally hooks your car back in. You actually make up an awful lot of time.
So he's gone for the wide line. Going to try and carry the speed. Brusciatelli with the traction there, but he's always bounding on the curb. But now he's giving Vermeulen all of the outside lines. He won't appreciate that, but he'll respect it. Every single outside line Vermeulen's having to take. He's trying to cut back, but that Porsche traction is making the difference.
Panel 6 as well looks like it's heating up, with Townsend now having a good look at Gedman going into the first corner. He's managed to stave that off, but he's got Sharp behind.
Oh no! Oh no! That wasn't intentional, but Gedman lost the rear and went sliding in between two cars. And now that's allowed Richings through. And this whole battle that we've been following.
Yeah, Sharp has got a pretty bent in front end now, so that'll be a difficult one for him to be able to make any further forward progress. Mr. Overtake is on the back of Clayton now, so they can't get bogged down too much with this, because they've got Lino to catch, who they are starting to catch. But Lino's dropping off the back, because I think Mr. Overtake is now going for a move in P4. Down the inside, man with a purple lap time, down the inside we go. I think it's going to be done, dusted, signed, sealed, delivered. It is.
With about 200 metres left to go.
Yeah, the Mustang there with such straight line speed that if you can get it to go round a corner, it's pretty formidable around here. But
we'll go back to Vermeulen though. Car number 1 and car number 2. Just that Porsche must have really taken some downforce off to be matching Vermeulen on the straight there. But Vermeulen goes to the dive to the inside. Brusciatelli covers it again.
It's the traction, the amount of traction he does get. He's probably stripped it out a little bit, but the traction he can get in that Porsche is what's doing it, because he's able to get 2 or 3 car lengths, which is difficult to make up in GT3 machinery. He's cut back down the inside here. I don't think as Brusciatelli right over to the extreme out inside, but that's going to be a really tight line for this left-hander. Vermeulen's going to go around the outside, is he? And I think he'll block the apex now. So you watch here. He'll have a really slow apex. Try and stop the Porsche's run. He does stop the Porsche run. Good block pass there. The Porsche isn't going to be able to mount a challenger because the Ferrari has effectively stopped the Porsche from accelerating. They're going to be side by side, so it's still going. But I think Vermeulen will have it. No, the Porsche.
No, I don't think you're right. I think the Porsche actually really committed and got the power down.
I think it's more that the Porsche does seem to have. I think he seems to stripped out, but the Porsche's traction there, even after being blocked off, was just amazing there. I wasn't expecting that at all.
I think he just sort of used the power, and the power came to him, he cut across the back of Vermeulen and allowed him the space to open up the throttle.
So we're going to have another go, another rerun, I think, of it down the straight here. Now, if he can keep it tight, they're both going quite wide through there.
Mr. Overtaker's coming once again. But he's only going to catch him towards the end of the straight, So it's only just coming towards the end of the straight.
These two both need to take a sensible pill bed, given their positions in class. But I think Overtaker, I don't know what's happened to Lino, but he's gone rather wide. Mr. Overtaker there goes through, and he's now going to
So look at this, Brusciatelli. Huge commitment to the inside. Absolutely ensures Vermeulen goes around the outside. That's been his tactic throughout the entirety of this battle.
Yeah,
just outside.
Yeah, aggressive drops car on the inside there at the corner. But depending on who is in the lead going into that, the lead car should think about taking the inside for that double right-hander, because you're going so much. As I think, Formula's going to have another go, but I think Bristoli's going to walk over again, and he leaves him all of the outside for the upcoming left-hander. And Formula now is going to have to dare it, isn't he? If he's going to try, though, he's going to go the other way and try and cut back. So he's going to try and out-Porsche a Porsche. And we'll see if it works, but the Ferrari does get a good exit, but the Porsche is just mighty on traction, isn't he? So he's going to have to force him into a mistake.
But Vermeulen's ducked back down to the inside. Would he be brave on the brakes? But with that weaving,
Porsche is too good. Porsche is too good in that mid part of the straight. But all this is doing is holding up a lot, because you can see the time they're losing. You've got Richings just ahead, but you've got then quite a gap from Sharp to Lino, for example, and then they're spaced out ahead. So this is proving to be pretty useful for any drivers who have designs on winning this race that aren't called.
So there is a bit of a gaggle up ahead, headed by Eden, over the Gibino and Serpentine, and Richings not too far behind that. So
I think Eden might be having a run at Sharp now, but if the Lexus is in the lead of a DRS train, or a slipstream train.
Here he goes. Look at him coming at him.
But if the Lexus is ahead of this train, then he's going to hold up an awful lot of cars as and when they get there.
And then behind, Serpentine on Gibino behind that as well. So
Serpentine to the inside now, as Formula's going to have another run around the outside. I think he might be able to get it done here. No, not quite. The Porsche more aggressive on the brakes, but he does run wide. I think this is going to be it, because Formula's going to go down the inside. He can't be covered off, and he's going to now take the inside line for the early, for the first part of the apex. And Bristoli runs wide, and long last as far as Formula's concerned.
I think that was the case with Bristoli, prepared to defend how he'd been defending, but then his choice of defence was taken away from him rather abruptly.
Yeah, Bristoli got a little bit too wide coming out. So whereas before he's been managing that line perfectly, he got too wide on that occasion, and that's why, with Vermeulen having wised up effectively, he was able to just sort of slip it down the inside, because Vermeulen had effectively squared the corner off, and that's where the overtake was made. Was the exit really of the previous corner.
But speaking of exits, look at Grace on Gedman down in P15. Now we know Gedman's running a bit of damage now. Now will this service the Porsche in his advance through the grid? Because it does look like Gedman's missing a few apexes. And it looks like Heyman's ahead of them. Is really struggling. And that's Bristoli off track.
Yeah, so I think that's separate, because Hyman's, he was just behind Bristoli, so I wonder if there's been a bit of contact.
And then Hyman's off. Hyman's misses the turn.
We'll need to give that back.
When Hyman's rejoins just behind Grace.
Yeah, I do wonder if there was an incident, because Hyman's have been catching those two.
And then Townsend through past. Has he got it? Townsend on Gedman.
He will do by the time they get there.
Yeah, he has.
So, another battle. Serpentine is just behind Sharp, who is just behind Eden. Eden, obviously, in the drag racing car that is the Lexus, which is good for straight lines and not much else. But Mr. Overtaker and Clayton have both got past Lino now for third and fourth. And Mr. Overtaker is now 1.2 seconds off the back of Mendes, who's got 2 seconds to Dreadlock Steve. But Mendes now might be a bit more vulnerable to the pro drivers that are starting to catch up.
Yeah, so Vermeulen currently in P10, finally with a bit of clean air. He's going to go chasing after Gibino, who I think, based on current form, should come at him very quickly. As you've just seen, the second taking off that deficit.
So I think now the fight for second and third is probably going to be the one to have a look at for the moment, because it's going to be effectively the race lead, isn't it? There's a big old battle, I think, between Grace and Hyman. Hyman's obviously recovering from his excursions earlier on, but Mr. Overtaker now is pushing Mendes through, so they want to be careful. They're in different classes.
And Mendes a little bit of a loss of the rear. I think this is going to be... Yeah, it's already got it done.
I think he's got out of it. I think Mendes might have used his head, to be honest. As much as I like to see them thrash each other, I do like clever driving, and I think that was it from Mendes. Different class, not really going to affect your race, so yeah, good move from Mr. Overtaker, and he can now get after Dreadlock Steve, which would be for the race lead.
So we're closing in the halfway point of the race as Wouter Heyman's drive-through. That's such a shame. I don't think any of his track limits that we've been following him fairly closely. None of his track limits, I don't think, have been overly offensive. When we just seen cut a big section of the track, but out of avoidance. As
Right,
now we have Serpentine being
rejoined.
overtaken. Serpentine overtaking.
Overtaking.
Overtaking Sharp.
The Sharp got quite a lot of damage from the earlier Gebman
Oh no! I think what happened there? Serpentine lost the rear, and has Vermeer managed to avoid that? Yes, he has. So yeah, Serpentine lost the rear coming around turn 9, and then Sharp maybe not quite seeing it, just collected him his rear, and that sent Serpentine even further around.
So from the angles that we've got, it's a lot easier, and it happens, and it feels like he's got a lot more time. But when that's happening in front, you don't have a lot of time to react at all. So there wasn't really a lot that could be done. But now Vermeulen's on the back of Gibino, who I would suggest will put up a much less stiff resistance compared to Bristolli. Bristolli obviously quite happy to get his elbows and everything else out. Yeah, Vermeulen now down the inside should take its candy from a baby, isn't it? Different classes and different races, quite frankly, within the same race. So, taking a sensible pill. It's been a bit of a return to form for the Italian, isn't it? Because sometimes he's quick but doesn't have the results to show for it. Whereas in this instance, and certainly towards the back end of the last race as well, he's certainly had a lot more sensible driving, I would say. So Gavino there certainly improving as the season goes on.
So Gedman, who continues to fall, has now got Sharp over the back of him, Desire further down as well. Both cars seemingly haven't been in the wars. Desire has a momentary look down the inside going into turn 5.
Yeah, Sharp saying that the Honda's been quite capricious, but I think it's nothing compared to the BMW with all the various bits dangling off of it that Gedman's suffering. I think it's going to be fairly easy, to be honest with you, because the Honda's not the quickest in the straight line, but the BMW really struggling in the straights and indeed actually through the corners, so this should be fairly easy if you can get alongside of him. He's not making much of an impact.
No, it's just that the engine's not broken.
Yeah, nothing at all, is there? I wonder if he's got a problem, because that's bizarre. That's really bizarre. The Honda normally, shows a little bit better than that down the straight. No, it's the quickest in the straight line.
The slip has allowed Basler to close right upon Desire and Sharp, and because Gedman is a mighty grunt down the straight, he's actually gapped them a little bit on the exit of turn 8. And then it's like Desire goes a little bit wide, but does carry speed, continues to defend from Basler.
So, battle for the lead is pretty close now. I think Mr. Overtaker's going to get past Dreadlock Steve probably by the end of the next straight, although there's a couple of cars ahead. That's Speeds and Wheats, I think, ahead, having had various dramas throughout the race. So Dreadlock Steve's got a really good exit though in that Aston Martin. He's took a really good line as well. So Mr. Overtaker is going to have a little bit of work to do, but I think the Mustang's sheer grunt should carry him down the straight. In fact, it is going to, isn't it? I don't think there's a...
But the Aston Martin is probably one of the slippiest things in a straight line. It doesn't have the grunt necessarily, but definitely has the aero to be really, really good at top speed.
Unfortunately, though, Mr. Overtaker is just gone past, isn't he? No real sort of threat to him from Dreadlock Steve.
I think I even saw Dreadlock Steve indicate they were staying right.
Yeah, sensible driving. Like I say unfortunately in the context that I'd quite like to see. You always want to see a battle for the lead, but it is sensible driving from Dreadlock Steve. He's leading AM class. He's got Trevor Mendes behind him at 4 seconds. Hasn't bothered him too much. But then you have to go back to Townsend in 14.
Look at this. Down in P16, Gedman's getting eaten up on the straight, and this is Sharp and Desire. No, not Desire.
Basler. Basler gone through, took him Gedman wide. Geblin's going to come back at him down the inside. This is a silver on silver, with Pro stuck in the middle, really, although his back end looking a little bit dog-eared on both the BMW and the Honda, not looking at...
a lap ago, Baszler was at the back of that 4-car battle.
Just depends, though, if you can be a bit sensible with it whilst everything's kicking off ahead. You remember when Serpentine obviously crashed into everybody in front of him? Kind of the opposite of that, really. If you're sensible whilst all the others are fighting, don't disturb them, because you'll come through.
Oh, but I think Desair's got a bit of a run here. If he can keep this on track and keep his foot planted. No, not quite. He really wanted to get a long side shot there and pin him to the inside.
You're getting quite frustrated as well, because you've seen somebody else who you can see is a bit slower go past. You know, we're 6th, 7th, wherever you were in race number 1. It's going to be massively frustrating to someone you can see is holding you back. There's no doubt about it. Gebben is a bit of a chicane at this point, but he's holding on manfully despite the damage. He's holding on manfully, but you've got the Zaire behind as just got into the back, I think. Oh, he's got track limits penalty, and he's just gone into the back of Sharp. So,
Gedman's had a massive snap going around turn 7. This is Sharp's best opportunity yet. He'll be down on speed now for as long as he can get alongside him. Oh, look at that! The speed just leaves him.
I wonder if he has got an engine issue, because even with drag, the car wouldn't be that slow in a straight line. I know, look, Zaire did also just hit him up the backside before he got his penalty, which didn't help. But there must be, I can't think that that's just drag, because he's losing half a second on the straight. That just doesn't happen.
Vidler spinning around in turn 5. Rather bizarre things be happening to him. Vidler, who would have started alongside Vermeulen, really having complete opposite in fortunes.
Vermeulen is now into the pros at the lead. He's just onto the back of Andrew Eden, so he's a lot quicker than Eden, obviously, overall, but when he needs to be, 1.3 seconds at the moment, when he needs to be down that straight, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how he plays it, because Eden, nothing to lose, really. You've got Marcolino ahead as well in the Ferrari, so then it depends, really. How quickly he gets past these two, it kind of really speaks to how likely he is to win the race. I don't think he will, because unless Overtaker has a couple of dramas, but I don't think this is going to be that easy for the Ferrari to pass because of the Lexus straight line speed prowess.
Yeah, Brown and Townsend kind of in a little battle of their own in between Brush, Tully and Basler, but it's heating up there as we have a drive-through cleared from car 51. Desire.
Yeah, that is Desire. So yeah, 7/10 of a second behind, but Eden's looking forwards and not rearwards. So Lino, bit of a balancing act for Lino, because he's got a good 6 seconds behind, so he can fight, but he doesn't really want to be too silly. As Vermeulen's going to go down the inside. Oh dear, it's going to go 3 wide there. That would have been a bit silly. He has got past Lino, so Lino's slotted in behind these two. And I think Eden now is just going to be probably a matter of when, not if, but it just depends on how well he can utilise that Lexus straight line speed.
So here's the first real test. This is as close as Vermeulen's been. It does look like Eden managed it well, got good traction out the turn.
Yeah, it won't be on speed into turn number 1 unless Eden has an adventure, but I don't see that happening.
We've got Owen Harris, former commentator in the comments, wishing well for Dreadlock Steve. Running well, winning the AM class at the moment.
Echo that. Steve's driven really, really well as well. It's not like he's sort of lucked into this. Obviously, he started on the front row, but he's not. Oh no!
Here goes Vermeulen. Here goes Vermeulen down the inside, turn 5. He's now on the inside. They're going to come round turn 6, and it doesn't look like Eden's going to get a chance to really fight this
through, because Eden's going to have the toe. He's going to have straight line speed, obviously with Vermeulen weaving. the Lexus being the thing that it is, he's going to be able to, I think, pass and probably get the drop on him. So I'm not sure that Vermeulen's thought that through, although he might be able to hang it on the inside. But the Lexus is just
no, he's got it covered. He's ahead.
In the straight. Yeah, and he stops him
behind.
Absolute
monster.
Going to have to do the same trick if he can to what he did with Brush-Tully. Brush-Tully obviously very keen to defend the inside here. So he's going to have to wait, really. Not really try and take the opportunity. I know the Lexus is so fast down the straight, but he's actually probably going to have to sit in behind the Lexus and try and set him up going into Leclerc corner.
I mean, is there a case? I mean, Eden's going well, and they've got to, and then they've got to first clear this gap that they've got to Mendes. I mean, Mendes should come towards him well before the end of the race, but if they want any further advancement, but Vermeulen goes for a dive for the final turn. Can he get it stopped? He can. But how's this affected his exit? Will he find himself in the same scenario he has again? Eden goes to the outside, gets on the racing line, but can he get into the first turn ahead? Look at it go!
Yeah, Vermeulen's going to have it go down the inside really late on the brakes, and I think he's just about Eden's going to hang it round the outside, which will be the inside for turn number 2.
Well, he should have covered that off.
Number 3.
He should have covered that off. He got a car in the head, and he's let Vermeulen back into it. Now Vermeulen's going to sweep round the outside, keeps it just on the track, but now he has to go a little bit defensive for turn 5. And what will this mean for his drive? Mistral Straight is on its way. Now, so all his experience.
Covered it off at the edge of traction. I think he might actually have spun if he's on the edge of traction. But the Ferrari has got a really good run through turn number 6, so he might have half a chance of holding off the advances of the Lexus, and I think that might be job done.
I mean, you got to wake up a bit earlier in the morning to get the jump on Jared Vermeulen, but it's not like he isn't going to be troubled at the end of the straight. Almost pulled it back on him, but now Vermeulen just needs the best final sector you can think of to try and get a gap so he's not troubled on the straights again, because Eden will continue to be a threat for as long as he keeps him underneath his rear wing as entering the main straight.
I don't see there being any issues now, to be honest, given the speed that Vermeulen showed through those corners. I know he's gone slightly wide there, but all he's got to do is make sure that he doesn't throw it off the road in the final sector, and then I think he'll be able to get through because he won't be compromised going through the first couple of corners.
So Brown, who's been unable to pass Townsend in this exchange, has now allowed Basler to come up behind him. Basler, as you saw, overtook 4 cars in a lap only a few laps ago. Now finds himself right on the back of admin Gordon Brown.
Throughout all of this, Adam Sharp remains 18th, stuck behind Chris Gedman. You know, when we were talking about Basler being just behind, it only felt like a couple of laps ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
He's got 10 seconds down the road.
I mean, this is just a cruel, cruel torment for Adam Sharp.
It's either that, it's either an engine issue, or he has got a rear wing like a parachute on the back in terms of drag, which I find difficult to believe with the Honda not being the quickest to begin with.
I mean, that's a good drive out of the corner, but midway down this straight, the BMW, as you look again, it just steps away.
And the BMW's got plenty of damage. That car is beaten up and certainly not in original condition. So, you know, I find it really quite inexplicable as to how we're at this point where the Honda's just reversing down the straight relative to the BMW.
I mean, you're looking at the bounding of the front of Sharp's car, and it's not exactly squeaky clean itself.
No, but I mean, the BMW had 2 or 3 quite hideous whacks. It's why it's 3 or 4 seconds a sector slower than everybody else around him, to be honest with you. And I say that in the best way possible, but Gedman's doing a really good job to fight on with this damaged car. I think he's moving out of the way, is he? Or is he just that confident that the Honda's not going to pass him? He's that confident the Honda's not going to pass him. So Luke Richings suffers from track limits, so he'll be coming in for a drive-through penalty.
I think that's just. I think that was Gedman realising that the only way that Sharp's even vaguely able to keep with him is by staying in the tow. He's dropped back almost a further 0.4 of a second just by dropping him out of his slipstream.
Yeah, it was kind of grandstanding, really, wasn't it? Just been like,
here's go Kelleher trying it around the outside of Jamie Thacker. but he's running out of grip out there.
So Am Reserve versus Am Regular. Thacker's got a little bit more to think about. But Thacker is 4th in class. So it's 19th, but it is, but representing actually a really good result for Thacker. We said that he had started to put a bit of a run together, and he's really quick when he wants to be. So you've got Kelleher behind, and then it's Van der Waal and Coppens. Coppens, another man who needs a good result. You've got Fars, who is in 26th, Kruger in 27th. They've dropped back quite a bit, but Smets and Viets, who were front row, Viets especially, 3 laps down on the Bentley, having won earlier, he's out behind this pair. So he'll be...
Oh, here goes Joe Vermeulen. Easy pass on Trevor Mendes down the Mistral straight.
I think Mendes might go out of his way looking at that, which is fairly sensible, to be honest with you. Now, he's 15 seconds off. I don't think he'll reach first, but he might get to the back of Clayton. Those two had a really good battle in Austria. No, they didn't. That was him and Erish. But Clayton's actually showing himself to be, fairly quick and fairly consistent here. Now, there's got a bit of damage to the Aston Martin, I think, or in terms of, the pace hasn't been there for Clayton, but he's coming up to the back of Dreadlock Steve, and 7 seconds in 10 minutes. The only person that can do it on this grid is probably Vermeulen. Mr. Overtaker has just simply walked away, hasn't he, in the lead? So he's after his, he was 26th, wasn't he? He was 26th on the grid, so he wasn't exactly right up the front.
I mean, Vermeulen, I think he has dispatched most of the grid, but I think battles with Brush Tully, battles with Eden, have really accosted him here and have probably set him back about 15 seconds in this race.
Which is all you need, really, because look at the gap. It is 15, thereabouts, 15, 16 seconds between himself and Overtaker. And Overtaker is no slouch. So that's, what you mentioned with those two battles is absolutely spot on. I think now, what's the nearest together? Mendes obviously a 10th behind, but that's misleading because that's him having been overtaken by Eden. I think it might be Kelleher and Thacker. Kelleher and Thacker, 4/10.
I think this is the move for P2. Aston Martin on Aston Martin, Clayton on Dreadlock Steve, and Steve looks like he's giving this one up. He had a bit of indicate to the inside.
Yeah, moving to the inside. I think he's eventually going to... Is he going to let him go? I thought he was.
Is he just assumed that you're faster than me, I'm going to go to the right, but but I'm going to expect you to pass me all the same?
Well, I don't think there's going to be any silly business. It doesn't need to be. Clayton needs to get this move done so we can at least sort of put a little bit more distance between him and Vermeulen, because Vermeulen is...
there he goes. Not too much fight from Dreadlock Steve there into turn 9.
It is sensible driving. Dreadlock Steve, he did this, I think, last week, if memory serves, or a couple of weeks ago. But it's really sensible driving, to be honest with you, because as much as, like I said, we want to see a battle, we do also want to make sure that the drivers get to where they need to go rather safely. So... I think when you're leading with the gap that he's got, do it, let him go. You go on to Adam Sharp's trauma again. I'll find out. I'll try and find out for you exactly what's causing the slacker pace, because I struggle to believe that it's driver.
I think I just keep going back to the gap. I mean, the gap has been sustained. I mean, you've got to give props. I mean, as distraught as it is that he can't get past him, it's incredibly impressive that he stayed relentless within under about half a second of him.
Yeah, I think he's quicker in the corners, but he's not quick where you need to be. So, we've got Steve now obviously behind Clayton. But Vermeulen's 4 seconds back from these, so I think Clayton might have to re-engage on the last lap. Because he is catching, well, he's getting to the back of these at about a second and a half a lap, so he might repeat his 1-2 from last week, but he won't catch Mr. Overtaker unless he hits some real dramas behind Floris.
Yeah, I mean, Vermeulen, dark spectre in the background. The fact that these two will now see him in the their mirrors, ominous enough. We'll start.
8 tenths, isn't it? Another 8 tenths to Clayton anyway.
The Dreadlock Steve very much enjoying the lead of the AM tier and the slipstream that he's getting to hold on to it from Clayton. Because Mendes, sorry, about, what are we looking at? about 10 seconds, 12 seconds behind Dreadlock Steve at the moment.
So, what have we got? We've got 6 minutes to go, 6.5 minutes to go. What's that? That's about 3-4 laps, depending on where they are. Yeah, he's just coming across the line, so it'll be 4 laps.
Gedman pulls out, gets rid of the slipstream once again. Only needs a small moment out of it. But just behind that, we do have a battle. We've got Van der Waal and Kelleher. Van der Waal getting to the inside. And he's got his nose ahead, and I think he should get this done. Yeah, he gets ahead just slightly wide, but that is allowed. Kelleher backs through the cutback, would you believe it? Through turn 9.
Sensible driving as well. I think Van der Waal's going to get involved in this as well, which you've got someone from another class involved. It's always a little bit tenterhooky because he's a little bit meant to be a little bit quicker, but also he's got nothing to lose in the sea of AMS, with Coppens now behind having a look, and you've got the resurgent Luke Richings there as well. He's in 22nd of a his drive through, so this is going to close up I think towards the end, but Gedman obviously suffering as he is. I mean, he's dropped, what has he dropped? He's dropped 12 seconds off of the back of Townsend, and he's dropped 18 seconds off of the back of Basler.
So this big group of Ferraris, so equal on pace. No mechanical advantage to be found here. You see Richings getting a little bit squirmy in the background, but carries his speed well.
The Vermeulen has just about caught Dreadlock Steve. Dreadlock Steve is only 1.7 seconds off of the back of Clayton, so Clayton's still struggling with pace relative to usual. But yeah, I think Vermeulen now being only 1.7 seconds off the back of Steve, being as passive as he has been with pros.
We've just got Brown closing on Brush Tully for P12. This is for a position in class, as they have Basler closing in on them, who's not in that class. He's in silver. Lamborghini does have marginally better straight line speed than the Porsche, but can be made up within setup.
The Brush Tully's had a few adventures, isn't he, today?
Yeah.
Looking at his front end, obviously he was caught up, I think, in the earlier skirmishes. I think that's Wheats getting out of the way, obviously laps. He had a few skirmishes earlier on, didn't he? He was battling with Vermeulen earlier on, wasn't he? And then it just kind of went south. That's Morniveg with the drive through. He is in 23rd, so he'll drop to the back of Silver, behind Kalugin potentially, but certainly behind Desert. So that's going to ruin what's been a pretty miserable afternoon for Morniveg. But there is a battle, I do believe, for... Well, Vermeulen's got past Dreadlock Steve. He's
Clayton's overhead Mr. Overtaker.
What on earth's happened to him, Mr. Overtaker? Have I put the mockers on him? I have, I think.
And now Vermeulen's going past. Turns on absolute head of a pin.
I wonder if he's just dropped it, because the car doesn't look particularly damaged, or maybe he might have lost fuel.
He had a 10-second lead.
I wonder if he's run out of fuel, perhaps, because look at him, he's got no pace at all. So either he's lost something with his pedals or with his engine or something, or I think he might have underfueled it. Because he is... I'm just going to try and go on board with him, actually. If I can. Try and see if I can listen out for anything. There's a few drivers out there.
Let us know.
Well, so yeah, be on the radio, be on different parts. I'll see if I can just get on board with him.
Yeah, he's absolutely leaping.
He's feathering it. He's not putting any throttle on at all. So I think he's out of fuel.
Oh, absolute disaster.
Because he's not putting full throttle on at all. He's easing it into corners now. I think you might as well quit while you're behind, because you're just going to lose out so much. I'm just going to see if there's anything else I can spot. I mean, yeah, it is fuel. It's fuel. He's completely out of fuel. He's pulling over now to let Eden go. So he's dropped to 5th now. He's got Mendes catching him and Sharp catching him, but it's fuel. All it is fuel.
Oh, what a shame. I was really looking for a grandstand finish. We really wanted to see if that gap could be maintained to these Clayton and Vermeulen that were catching quickly. But now
ironically, we've got a bigger finish, haven't we? Because we've got now a battle for the lead with Clayton now fighting Vermeulen.
With probably only one lap more after this one.
Yeah, so he's going to have to get his elbows out the Aston Martin. It's quick in a straight line, but he's been reeled in a little bit quickly for his liking, I would have thought.
We're weaving, we're waving, we're trying to get Vermeulen out of the slipstream, and it's only partially working. Vermeulen is slightly catching, but not catching quite enough. Clayton should have him covered, at least for this straight.
He's got to keep it neat and tidy through the next right-hander, because otherwise Vermeulen will be down the inside on the braking zone into Leclerc corner. He's kept it neat and tidy so far, so he's got decent traction there, so he won't, just got to keep it on the island. He's got to keep it sensible and hope that Vermeulen's thinking well, he doesn't need to think championship, does he really? Because look at the gaps he's got behind. So he's just got to keep it nice and sensible and not do anything silly. As long as he does that, he's got half a chance of retaining the lead, Clayton.
So yeah, he's got 1, 2, 3 straights left to have to consider.
Yeah, the front straight won't matter too much, provided that he doesn't let himself get overawed into the final corner, as he won't. The Aston's got a little bit of lag, but the Ferrari's not the quickest in the straight line either, so it won't matter too much.
Wasn't the best exit from Clayton. Wasn't the best exit.
It's turn 2 that he needs to race. It's turn 2 and it's turn 6. Unless Vermeulen goes down the inside.
He goes for it.
No.
Absolutely brave by Clayton, turning in. Made sure Vermeulen respected his ownership of the corner.
But Clayton was out of position going through turn 2, and now look at Vermeulen. Down the inside we go. Is he going to make the move into turn 3?
No, he's going to push him off again. Ooh, a little bit of a touch. Elbows out indeed.
From Clayton.
And that's compromised Vermeulen through turn 5.
Yeah, so Clayton cutting the nose off here. Now he's going to have to fight like hell to try and break that toe, because I think the Ferrari's got such a run on him. It's 0.4 of a second at the moment. That's more like 2 looking at this. The Aston Martin's got to try and break the toe, I think. Otherwise, he's just going to be a sitting duck.
I mean, all he's done for the moment is commit to the inside. It's not going to be enough. Where was the breaking of the toe, Clayton? We needed more than this. And we have a disqualification for track limits, car 442.
That's Borneveg. I think he's got him. He's got him.
He's got him.
He's got him.
Oh, absolutely the last opportunity for Vermeulen. Doing what he does best. Last the first challenges for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I mean, what a guy. I think Clayton will be absolutely kicking himself that he didn't weave and do what he did in the last lap.
Mr. Overtaker's now just got down to the Mistral. If you want to know where he was, he's going very, very, very slowly. So, yeah, it's disastrous. He must have underfueled by over a lap, because that is some quite extreme fuel saving.
So, Vermeulen, the last opportunity, got Clayton, and what a grandstand result. And our Dreadlock Steve comes home for another brilliant result. P3 and a win for the Amtir for about Andrew Eden, who had definitely had a part to play in this race. Then Johnny Sharp, home P5, P4 in class. Trevor Mendez started on pole, comes P2 in class. Lino Gibino, Fontaine, and then fending off Grace and Brown. They've been holding off Basler, but can Basler hold off Brush Tully? I think he can. Brush Tully's going to take him all the way to the line. We've got well, that's Gedman. Where's
Sharp? Dropped to 23rd, so I think he might have had an adventure. He's now battling with Poshbishil for 22nd and 23rd. They've passed Mr. Overtaker, who's going to drop, I think, to 27th.
So everybody was questioning why Gedman wasn't in a Porsche, and I think the reason being is I think Jarno Trulli's gone and sat in a BMW and called himself Gedman, because he's created one hell of a train tonight. So cars fast and furiously coming to the line, and the field spread is quite significant at this point onwards. Mr. Overtake, unfortunately, limping the whole way home, does finish on the lead lap. But what an unfortunate scenario for him. We feel sorry for you, Mr. Overtaker. But well done to Jared Vermeulen, as ever. The man, the myth, the legend. We've still got a few cars coming around. And I think, has Felix run out of fuel as well?
Quite possibly. Waiting for him to cross the line. You can get there.
He does, just about. It's broken! It's broken!
Yes. So,
Anti-stop.
drivers obviously having left earlier.
Oh!
We've got the Jared Vermeulen podcast about to start.
So, Jasmine, breathing exercises. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. God, you had your work cut out for you today.
Man, that second race was tough, man. A lot of incidents to avoid and drivers defending hard against me. I had some guys, which is fine. It's all good, and I didn't think the win was on, man. I mean, because Overtaker was, he was miles ahead, and then
I think he ran out of fuel.
Yeah, I think he underfueled, and yeah, so I had to gain on Clayton 9 seconds in, I think it was 8 minutes. So I was pushing and stuff. So it was really good fun, man. I was very happy to get the win on the last lap there. So yeah, man, that was good fun.
Yeah, we particularly picked out your battles with Brush Tully and
the Lexus, that guy Eden.
Yeah, Eden.
We had we had a good battle there. Yeah, yeah. There was some good battling through the field, and it's not that easy to overtake here. Not many overtaking spots. So I just played it safe for the opening runs. As you know, those opening laps, things happen. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with how things went today. The battling was fun, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it did look for a few occasions, especially with Clayton at the end there. He really put really borderline defence on you. All perfectly fair from the angles that we could see, but definitely a few taps and touches towards the final laps.
Yeah, no, it was all good from us. There was no contact line, so it was just good racing. Basically, like everyone was all clean today.
Now, one thing we picked up on commentary, it didn't look on the final lap when you made the move on the Mistral straight that he chose not to weave and break the toe from you. Is that something you picked up on, or did we miss something from our angles?
I think because of the previous lap, he did try to break the toe, but I gained a lot anyways. So I think he kind of accepted his fate there when he was only 4/10 ahead of me. I think he just was like, I have to pick a side on the inside and hope I don't have the overrun on him, which I did. But the slipstream.
But that it appeared to us that was the difference ultimately in the final. 4/10 and ahead is better than behind.
yeah, but we were having a bit of battling in between before we got onto the straight, so I had also a better exit as well. So, like I said, the previous lap, he was 6/10 ahead, and I got right up to him. So I think he, like I said, I think he just knew that either way he had to just pick a side and hope I didn't have the overrun.
We saw all sorts of battles today with drivers in the big powerhouse cars, the BMWs, the Mustangs, the Bentleys, all causing absolute havoc for trains, particularly Chris Gedman in the BMW, causing absolute nightmare for Adam Sharp in the Honda.
Yeah. The Lexus, he just blasted past me, and my top end today was pretty good. So the way he just blasted past me, I was lucky that I didn't really have too many battles with the Fords or Mustangs.
We couldn't quite believe. I mean, our camera angle wasn't great, but when we sort of got a glimpse of him just dragging back past you on the Mistral straight after you making the move, only maybe a corner or so before, we just thought, well, so if that's, I mean, it's a challenge to overcome, and obviously you were clearly up to it, but he barely put a foot wrong in all of that.
Yeah, no, I think, I tried it, and then that's with the next lap I actually made the move. After the first sector, you got the 4, 5, and 6. I went up the inside of 6, just, to make sure to get a bit of a worse run. And that saved my bacon.
Yeah.
But he just blast past me again. But yeah, it's not easy to overtake around here. There's, like I see, turn 1, and then the Mistral straight. There's really only two.
Yeah, we picked up a lot of on the highlights we're just watching now. A few spun cars on the opening lap as well, which is never handy for those of you that are coming from the back to try and make something of your race.
Yeah, but luckily, I mean, there was one incident in the first 2 corners. There were guys all over, so I had to just go. Luckily, it was poor Ricard, so I could just go completely way out of track limits and then come back safely.
Yeah, on that, I mean, where were you sitting on track limit warnings by the end?
I got 2 track warnings in the first 2 laps, so I ended on 2 warnings. That was just because of all the, having to take avoiding action, and the game was a bit unfair to me, giving me 2 warnings. But no, this track is, you just got to be careful, corner 1, 2, then you should be fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, business as usual, Jazzman. So what we're going to do, we're going to break to try and pick some drivers of the day, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Yeah, guys, thanks again for the stream. I'll definitely watch it back, and I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully this podcast gets a bit bigger with people joining. This season seems pretty, it just seems like it's been...
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. Alright guys,
Okay.
Enjoy your Sunday and your rest of the weekend. Thank you very much.
You too. Goodbye now.
Bye.
Right, so we've got the enviable task of picking out some drivers of the day. I do really want to commend some of those defensive drives.
There's only one place starting, bro, which is probably the Vermeulen. I want to, you want to say well done to Brush Tully, for example, for giving us something to watch in the middle part of the race.
Yeah, and Eden.
And Eden, to be fair, we gave us something to watch, didn't he? You've then got, but for me, I'm probably looking at Gabino, who was 8th, having been fairly solid in race number 1 as well. So we'll put him. I mean, the thing is with Lino, he won because he was at the front. Same with Dreadlock Steve, who did a really good race. He drove really sensibly, but I can't quite put him as driver of the day there. So you're going to try and have to look back to see if there was any AMs really that were sort of across both. Wheats' first race was really, really good, but he's 4 laps down here, so I'd say probably Wheats, to be honest with you. He's 4 laps down here, and that obviously does knock it, but in terms of the AM class, I would say the reason being is because it was such a composed drive to 9th in the end, wasn't it, in race number 1, and I think for that he deserves props, really, because in a 40-car field to be 9th in the AM class, I'd probably go to Wheats.
Yeah, so there we have it. Vermeulen...
Bino, I think, because he was strong across both from memory. Maybe Basler as well, because Basler was in the top 10. No, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go with Basler, or Basler, because he was strong across both silver races. We're going to go with Basler, we're going to go with Vermeulen, and we're going to go with Wheats.
So you're giving it to Gabino?
Yeah, he was strong enough across both. I was going to give it to Gabino, but I've noticed that Basler was towards the sharp end in both race number 1 and race number 2 in silver, so unfortunately Gabino was a close second, I'm afraid.
So, Vermeulen, Basler and Wheats. So there you have it, guys. There's your drive of the day. They will get put into the server for you to vote on. One from Pro, one from Silver, one from Am. Hope you see you on the voting to work out who is the overall drive of the day. That goes down to you guys. So as we finish off the evening, do make sure you join everything that I mentioned earlier. Make sure you sign up for F4L's Racing. Like, share and subscribe the stream. The channel puts stuff out almost every single day. Long events, short events, sprint events, we've got you. Hit that notification button to make sure you don't miss the starts of any of the events. If you are already involved, do make sure to sign up to Patreon. Just £3 a month keeps all the lights on, keeps everything commentated, keeps all the servers up, and you get all your sneaky perks as well, starting at just £3 a month, 10p a day, for your saved race number, early access to events, and your own practice server on a scalable model where you get more perks the more you put in. Do make sure you check out our sponsor as well, Simnet, who sponsors the entire server. They're producers of high quality sim racing equipment. And do make sure, if you do want to get involved, drop a comment underneath the video, and Amon will reach out to you to send you a Discord link. But that's all from us. We hope to catch you on the next one, same time next week, 8 PM Sunday evening, Super Sprint Sunday. Good night, guys.